Welcome to the very first episode of Chopping It Up, Chop Shop Racing League podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Went, and my very first guest for the very first podcast is none other than Mr. John Hammond. Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, anytime.
So there was a race tonight in the league, and we weren't going to bring up any racing stuff because one of the main questions that I had for you was, you're the owner, you are the original founder of Chop Shop Racing, you and Mr. Michael Strickland. The main question I had is, being at the top and owning a league, you would assume in most aspects that guy's the best, right? He has the most skill, he has all the wins, but in a weird turn of events, you were the one guy that didn't have a league race win. And I was going to ask you, how does that happen? What's that feel like? But then tonight, you come out of nowhere and you did your thing and got across the finish line first. So what's your thought process behind, all that?
Yeah, so you're right on there. It doesn't, just because you run a league doesn't mean that you're the best and stuff like that. We run this league to just have fun and stuff like that. But yes, I got my first win in the league. I think I had one in another league, but this one meant a lot because myself, Michael Strickland, we started this league, and it's been almost 2 years, man. 2 years, and I haven't got a win. I've come close a couple times, but tonight it just things fell in right, and I able to pull it off.
Has it registered with you yet? Has it really set in that it's like, man, I finally got one?
Yeah. At first, this is just me. I think that whole last lap, I think my leg was shaking on the clutch. So I was trying to get it off the clutch so I didn't accidentally hit the clutch. Unless you do this, granted, we're not in real cars. We're not, so the fear factor of, oh my God, I could die, I could do this, I could wreck, it's going to cost me money. Yeah, alrighty, I just hit reset and I get a new car. But there's still the competitive mode, and it shows across there. We're a bunch of guys out here, all competitive, racing, and tempers flare, stuff like that. It has its ups and downs. So, you're sitting there, like I think last week I had a race leading with the last couple laps to go again, and just didn't go my way. And, you get frustrated and stuff like that. But you just go the next day and try. It's just hard to control your emotions. I'm actually shocked how hard it is to control your emotions when you're racing a simulator. I mean, hey man, I'm not doing this for food on the table.
Right. And I know you said, you had to get your foot off the clutch, you were saying. In that instance, is it just reminiscent through your whole body? Is your arms shaking? Obviously, your heart's just pounding,
Yeah, dude, I was shaking like a dog shitting bones, man. It's gets nerve-wracking, dude. Especially when you haven't won. I mean, the guys I race in this league, they're the top, man. They all run. They run officials. They're good. They win, a handful of races during the season. But the little guy like me that wants to put the league together, have a community, race, have fun, get together every night, shoot the shit, and then when you get into a position of winning, man, your heart starts racing. You get nervous. You forget to do things. You miss your marks. But tonight, it just went my way, and I'll take it. The guy ran out of fuel, but that's part of racing.
No, that's completely a strategy thing at that aspect. And when you're in that position, and you're like, I have to. You almost think like, I have to win because I haven't won before, and then it's like you have everything to lose at that point. It's all on the table, and you're hoping that you don't go that route, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, I tell these guys at work and people I associate with outside of this little community, they're always wondering, what are you doing tonight? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, dude, I got a race tonight. And you're committed, man. You take this as a commitment. At least I do. And I enjoy it. It keeps me out of trouble off the streets. I mean, I'm not young anymore, but, I wish I had this back when I was younger. I probably would have been less trouble. But it's enjoyable. I love it. And like you said, man, when it comes down to those last few laps, there's 2 times I'm the most nervous when I'm in one of these races. The beginning, because you just don't know what to expect, and then towards the end if you're in the top 5, especially when it's a green white checker, man, because everybody was wanting to get it. So it's a good excitement.
Well, again, man, congratulations on your first win. Hopefully,
Thank you.
like you said in your interview, it snowballs, right? You got the
I'm on a
momentum
roll,
behind you
baby.
now.
I'm on a
Yep.
roll.
Yep, you got that momentum now. You can feel it. It's pushing you forward, and you got that confidence now, which is probably the most important aspect. You have the confidence now. You're like, I know I can beat these guys.
Yeah.
I've done it. I can do it again,
They're all beatable, but I still got a lot to learn. I mean, I learn every day from these guys, racing with these guys. It's just a skill set, man, and it shows, man. These guys are all good, but I'm on a roll. You never know, man. It could snowball, get your confidence up, like you said. All it takes is one win. But I'll pump the brakes a little. I mean, we're going into Talladega, or I think it's Talladega. It might be, yeah, I think it's Talladega, which is a plate race, and anybody can win at a plate race. And I feel that's one of my stronger suits. So we could just momentum back to back here. I hope so. It'd be fun.
Absolutely. And anybody out there watching, if you're ever interested in even watching one of these races, you can go on YouTube under Chop Shop TV. You can also look under Signature Esports. We do a lot of broadcasting online always. Going back now, you were saying you weren't a spring chicken no more, obviously. How old are you?
I'm 54. I'll
54.
be 55 in April. So, yeah, if you want to look at it this way, could I go and try to be a real racer? Probably not. Skill level and age. But this is as close as I'm going to get.
Yeah, a lot of them guys coming up, I mean, some of them can't even drink beer, racing in the ARCA series. And coming back around, I mean, so you're in your 50s. Have you always been a racing fan your entire life? Is this something that just kind of happened? You fell into it, in your middle years?
Well, I've always been a racing fan. I was back when Dale Sr., back in those days. I didn't watch it as much, but when it was on, I watched it, stuff like that. When I was younger, growing up, there wasn't all these channels. You were the remote for dad, get up, change the channel, boy. So yeah, I was into the racing. I'm always competitive. I'll bet on anything, to be honest. But how I got into this it's just a funny story. It was around COVID, and COVID didn't really affect me as much as far as my work. I worked through COVID and stuff like that. But my boy, Tyler, he was into video gaming and stuff like that, and he wanted to buy his own computer. So I'm like, yeah, alrighty, I'll help you, blah, blah, blah. And shit, I don't know what I'm doing with these computers, man. But with YouTube and a couple direction books, I felt I was comfortable. Well, I got home and he's like, hey, Dad, I already got everything open, ready to go. But he threw all the directions away. So, so it was YouTube. We got the computer together. But, get to my point is how I got into this is my boy wanted a wheel and pedals. And, I'm like, dude, I am not wasting money on wheels and pedals. And, alrighty, I'll entertain him. So I bought a G29 pedal steering wheel combination and bolted it to a desk, had one 24-inch monitor, and I left him alone. I said, hey, there you go, boy, have fun. And he goes, hey, have you ever heard this game, iracing or simulator? He always corrects me when I say game. simulator. And I'm like, no, I don't even want to mess with it. Dude, I bought it for you. Have fun. He should have never let me sit in the seat. Cause once I got in there and started doing it, $5,000 later, now I got, the rig, the pedals, meeting all these new people, you meet a lot of new friends. I got, I consider Stryker, or Michael Strickland, we call him Stryker, probably a really good friend, and I haven't even met him, other than through our voice and every once in a while, on a camera. But, he's a true friend, and, that's how you meet all kind of people like that through this community. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's how I got into it. And then ever since, I don't think my boy's ever, he done it a couple times, but just like any other teenager, man, you grow out of things. And he's like, I don't even want to race anymore. But I was like, fine, more for me, because I'm sitting in the seat every night.
So I mean, the first time you got on there, instantly you were just hooked.
I wouldn't say instantly, because knowing now what I know now, yeah, it was hooked. The first thing I bought was, I got to get 2 more screens. So I had 3 24-inch screens. We were still bolted to a desk. I'm sorry. I upgraded to an A-frame, metal shaky ass thing, and just put it together. And then once I don't even know how I actually got into the leagues. I must have stumbled across. I was in a league, and then I stumbled across a league called the Winston Throwback, and that's where I met Stryker. And once I got into that, then you start hearing the guys talking. Hey, man, I got the first thing you should upgrade is your pedals, because that's where the speed's at. Well, $1,000 later, you're into these pedals, and then the wheel, the direct drive. So, yeah, at first I was like, I didn't even know the cost yet. So I was all eager and, yeah, I'll get some screens. Then, now I got triple screens, and I felt like I was hot shit. But then once I seen everybody else's rigs and stuff, that's where the credit card got in trouble. So, but would I do it again? 100%. I'd probably do it even bigger if I was to do it again. But it's all about the immersion, having fun. And if you're going to spend this kind of money on this kind of hobby, you might as well go all in and do it right, because you're always upgrade. But no, that's how I got into it. And haven't looked back. It's a lot of fun.
So when you said you joined your first league and you end up meeting Stryker, I mean, was it a good friendship altogether, just right then and there? Did you guys fall into it?
He was an asshole at start. No, just kidding. No, it was good. I don't know really how we got to where we're at right now as far as a friendship. Like I said, I can't speak for him, but everyone says we're like the yin and the yang, man. We work good together as far as running this league. We don't see eye to eye all the time, and that's just like any other marriage. I'll call it a marriage, because we probably spend more time together, me and him, than we do with our significant other. So, and it does hurt in the long run. But I don't know when it became that friendship with him, but I think it was during the Winston. You get in these rooms and you start chatting it up, and then you start talking about certain things like, oh man, where'd you get your pedals? And then the conversation starts, and then it went from there, man. And then we ended up, I could talk for hours on how we got to this point, but it's a long road journey, but well worth it. And I think I picked the right partner, and I can't exclude the admins too, all the way from the other leagues up to here. What I've learned from other guys, implementing it in here is been phenomenal, and can't do it without the admins and a good partner.
Right. I would totally agree. One of the questions I have is in the Winston, because you strike me as the type of guy that is loyal to a brand or loyal to whatever he or she does, right? You start eating Oreo cookies, it's Oreo cookies all the time. You're not going to go to an off brand, right?
Right.
So you're in the Winston. What was the turning factor of why you would decide to leave your very first league, even if it was to join another league or start your own? What was kind of the turning tides moment there?
Um, there wasn't really any. I mean, the Winstons are they run a league over there. They have a great concept. I started in another league before the Winston, and I just didn't like it. I felt that it was uh, not control, no order. Like it was more of hey, I got a room open, and they could jump in there, excuse me, and race. And I mean, that's what you do, right? I mean, you can only really spice things up so much. You're going in a circle, So, what can you really do to make things different? Well, I had a low I rating. I was still learning. I didn't understand all the ins and outs of it, and like I said, me and Stryker hit it off, and we would go after the race or after that, and we kind of just shoot the shit and get go in a room, and he'd show me some tips, and and just laugh about stuff, have a good time. The racing was a byproduct of what we had going, and we sort of liked it. So Winston Days ran a course, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. It got kind of like boring. Not, I wouldn't say boring, but just same old stuff, same old stuff. And I always wanted to go against the best. Not saying Winston didn't have the best. I just wanted to do more of the open setups and stuff. So we broke off. We said there was four of us. Brian Rayburn, Michael Strickland, and myself. One other guy, I'll just, he was there too, but we'll leave it at that. And we decided to just create a Discord and let's get away from the league thing. And the four of us, we work on setups and run officials. We did that for about a month, and then Stryker said, "Man, what do you think about running a league?" And I was like, "Oh shit, really?" I said, "Yeah, we could do it, man, but we got to do it right, man. We got to do it right." So I don't think we actually started running our league, Chop Shop, until we had the good foundation. We wanted a rule book, and things change. We changed that rule book 3 times now in roughly 2 years, a little over 2 years. But we keep trying to improve on it and improve on what our product is, if you will, of how we want to run this. Guys have choices, and that's how we ended up here. Stryker's like, well, let's just something small. Well, we started with one series, and then all of a sudden, I think we're racing 5 nights a week now. We got dirt series in this, so it escalated quickly, but I'd do it all again. It's fun. But like I said, you have your hard times. Everyone's human. So you end up making the wrong decisions, saying the wrong things. But ultimately, I love all of them, man. I like doing this stuff. I like racing. But sometimes you got to take a break. And I think that's what happened with Winston.
Yeah, I understand that. Anything in repetition is going to wear you out. But it's funny that you say that because of the position that you're in now, because there's no backing away from it. You can slow down, obviously. I'm a part of the Chop Shop Racing League. I'm one of the admins. You give me responsibilities when you need to give me responsibilities. You guys didn't question me when I told you I wanted the podcast, and I appreciate that. So, I mean, I can understand you can back off. You have the admin team. You have Mike to help keep everything at even keel all the time. But at the end of the day, it's still there. You still got to keep it running, keep it oiled up, keep it going. It's never
You got to
going
put
to
the
end.
time in. If I had to sum it up, and by all means, I'm not trying to sit here on my soapbox and say, Chop Shop is, the greatest league, even though it says it on the back there, world greatest racing leagues. But we try to put on a product that is competitive but fair. Things happen. We can't control other people's emotions, mine included. Everyone gets frustrated. But the good thing about it is if you can establish a black and white, this is it, this is the rules. Someone's always gonna find, I can backdoor this rule, I can backdoor this rule, and that's where you learn from it. You go, oh, okay, I wouldn't say found a loophole or trying to be deceiving them in there, but you always got to improve. So you're always making changes, and that's what we do here. And like I said, all the admins yourself, you got Church out there, you got Odell, Stryker as the owner, Retchen, all those guys. I hope I'm not missing someone, but they know who they are. Even the drivers are always giving their input, what they think every year. I wouldn't say every year. We try to run 2 seasons in a year. And everybody puts their input in. So it is a community decision on how it's run, but ultimately, just like in any business or corporation or even a racing league, the buck stops at the top. And we want our brand to be as pure as we possibly can without making it too corporate, if you will. We don't want to be ticky-tacky this, but for it to be successful and to be fair, you have to have rules, and you have to abide by those rules. And that's what I think Chop does very well. Sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield, and that's how life is. So, are we 100% right all the time? No. I don't think anybody is, but we try to make everything right. So if we make a mistake, we're going to make it right. And we try to do that best. So, but guys get frustrated. There's 100 leagues out there. Guys come and go, but I hope that they come back. We're always, you leave, we're always going to take you back unless you do something really against our code of conduct. But other than that, everybody gets frustrated. So it's fun though.
So that all being said, so Chop Shop Racing as a league has a concrete foundation for rules. I firsthand know that it's always being innovated to the best of the ability without, sacrificing something else, right? We're always trying to bring it up. To backbone off of that, let's just kind of scratch the rules out of place. If I was a new person wanting to join a league, what would Chop Shop Racing League, how would it set itself aside or above any of those other racing leagues? Why would a new guy want to join us minus, we have a great racing or a rules package?
Well, that's a good question. Like I said earlier, there's many leagues out there. There's and they're good leagues. There's a lot of good leagues. We're just a drop in the bucket compared to a lot of the leagues out there. And like I said, you can only do so much for a league, right? You're putting 40 guys, if you're lucky, on a track and you're just going in circles, and it's pretty simple. First one across the line wins, right? So there's not much you can do to mod this, change it, whatever. So the only thing you could do is offer the guys that are outside looking for leagues or maybe looking to move to another league, is offer a solid place that is going to provide, races every week, practices, point system, giveaways, trophies, and that all adds up. And a lot of leagues out there are missing that boat, if you will. To me, it's like, hey, a lot of the leagues out there, you're just getting guys together to race, which is fine. That's the console days. You had a group of guys that got together every week, shoot the shit, and go racing.
Yep.
Well, we do the same thing, but we just want to try to make it a little bit more structured. Like I said, we give trophies, we give that, and it costs a lot, man. To run these leagues, I don't know if got people out there that want to start a league or run a league or in a league, running a league, struggling right now. I feel your pain, dude. It is a costly event. I actually didn't know how much it was until I actually sat down one day and totaled it all together, and I damn near shit myself.
Absolutely. And obviously, a lot of people don't get that. Me personally, I do. But you're right. A lot of people have no idea what comes into it. And to say that is, I'm a guy that started in 2017, so I was starting iRacing before a lot of people were, and I'm probably one of the most horrible drivers in the league right now. Because iRacing's constantly changing and elevating their game too. So it's a cat and mouse game always between the driver and the simulator, I guess. But I can tell you right now, back in the day, there was no broadcasting, and I know that's a huge portion of the financial aspect. Do you think all leagues are broadcasting their races, or if they aren't, they should be?
Um, that's a slippery slope. I mean, it really depends on your broadcaster and who's putting out your content. If you want, like I said, am I looking at Chop Shop being, iRacing, E-Series, Cup type stuff? No. What we want to do is just give someone that is really into racing, their family's into racing, it's something to watch. Now, do I think every league should be broadcasting? No, because it depends on what you're trying to prove. If you're getting 20 guys together in a Discord and having fun and doing officials, and you kind of just are all in the same race or whatever, that's fine. But if you're going to go to the next level and broadcast, there's a lot involved. One, you got to pick the right broadcaster, which I think we do have two of the great ones here. Joseph Grijalva is an up-and-coming broadcaster. He does a lot of our races, and he does a phenomenal job. And the other broadcaster we've been using for a long time, since Winston days, has been Signature Esports, and he does a great job. He's been doing it a while, and it shows. Joseph is doing a great job, but it's all about the content. The racing, watching it, going through the field, stuff like that. Actually telling the story, other than you get done with a race and you go up there and you tell your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and your son, "Hey man, I just won." What do they care? All right, you won, great. But now they got something to watch. But it does cost, man. It is costly. There's people out there. I think we were one time wanting to do a one-off broadcast. Someone was out, one of our broadcasters, and we were trying to find someone. They're $100 a race, $100 an hour, to broadcast. I'm like, well, damn, for $100, they better be here in my room with me with the microphone in my face,
Right.
But you got to look and see what they're providing. Anybody can say, hey, I'll charge you $50 a race, but do your homework. Make sure you don't commit to something and regret it in the long run, because it's probably the most expensive part of the racing. Like I said, if you were to do the whole nut and shell for a year, broadcasting and all the trophies and giveaways, it's close to 5 figures, to run a league.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot if you want to do it right.
To circle back to our last question of a new guy coming in, and why should I choose Chop Shop over this one or that one? Do you think that is a good selling point though? It's like, hey guy, we broadcast all our races, right? You can go back, you can watch, and you could, the camera's not always on you. It kind of keeps the action up front, which rightfully so it should. But I think you can also use that as a very strong learning tool. I watch all you guys race. I can see the lines you're running, trying to get better myself. But I think that would be a major selling point, don't you, for somebody new coming in?
Yeah, it's a selling point for sure. I mean, anytime you can add, a little gravy to the food, it's always a selling point, right? Do I think broadcasting the most important? No, I don't. I think the most important to running a league is having a good solid foundation with the rules. the rules are the biggest thing. I think the biggest frustration across any league, and like I said, I could speak only for Chop Shop, but I can speculate that the biggest problem people have in leagues is being consistent. I think Chop Shop, can we be better? Yes. Are we working to strive to be better? Of course. We're always trying to do something, change something. We want everybody's experience to be in here. Whether you had a bad night or a good night, you can go home every night going, damn it, I made a mistake. Or, shit happens. This is racing. If you were to sit there and just everyone stay out of people's way, how much fun is that? I'm not saying you got to drive like an ass clown, but at least, if everybody drives with some sensibility and race hard, you're going to have accidents. And long as you have a good foundation and you're consistent, we call it this way. We make sure when we do our reviews right now, that's another thing. We do reviews. We look at every incident and we try to be as fair and without being over penalizing, if you will, because then it gets frustrated. Then your average driver, like myself, would go, shit, man, I'm out of it. I'm going to just go find another league. Well, I'm hoping nobody does that because, hey, not everybody can win, right? Not everyone's going to win. One winner, there's only one winner of race. There's only one champion, and you just got to get better. There's many times I'd be like, damn, man, why am I even take aside of the Chop Shop, of me even running Chop Shop. Let's just think about the fact that would I still be in this league if I wasn't the owner of Chop Shop or part owner of the Chop Shop? Probably, just because I'm so damn competitive. I want to beat the best. I want to race against the best. Am I going to win 1% of the time? Probably not. But I'm learning. I'm learning from these guys, and that's what you get from there. And if you stick it out, yeah, you have a bad race. But 9 times out of 10, after you look at it and stuff like that, you realize, yeah, it was a mistake. Or, hey, man, he had nowhere to go. So as long as you're consistent in your rules and consistent on how you apply those rules, your league will be successful. It's the leagues that wishy-wash. They'll call it one way this week, call it another way next week, and then you lose the confidence of the drivers that are joining your league. And that's one thing I think I could stand on here at Chop Shop is that we try 100% to be consistent and fair.
Absolutely. And obviously I could contest to that because you as the owner of Chop Shop have probably had to meet the receiving end of them rules many times.
I've been penalized.
Yeah. We don't take it any easier on you than anyone else.
I've been penalized, and after the fact, I feel bad about it. It's my own mouth sometimes. I get frustrated. But then again, guys, that's the competitive nature in everybody, right? If this was an underwater basking weaving contest, I'd still be trying to figure out how to drown you while I'm weaving my basket. So,
right.
But at the end of the day, like I said, man, it's no hard feelings. It's competitiveness. 90% of the time, people spew shit out their mouth and they don't really mean it. They're just wrapped up in the emotions of the situation and they get frustrated. But it all revolves to how a league handles those situations. If you just let that stuff fester, it's like cancer. It'll just start spreading. Next thing you know, this guy's retaliating on this guy, this, that. So it's all about how you do things in the league, behind the doors. And I believe we do it right, but there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely. And I mean, that goes a long way, not playing favorites with any of this. You yourself included, when it comes to the rules, you're no different than anybody else in the league, which speaks volumes, it shows good leadership by leading by example.
It's hard too now. It is hard. You got to, it's hard to, I'll paint a scenario. Let's say you're a driver, right? You're just a, average Joe driver in the race and you're involved with me. Now I'm an admin /owner, this is why it's so important to be 100% on your rule book and stick to that rule book, because some people will sit there and go, well, it's because he's an admin or this. But shit, I think I got 100 points in deductions over the last 2 years. So, I mean, I'm not proud of them, but the rules apply to the same. If you make a mistake, we own up to it, and that's what I think builds a good atmosphere here. Our number one rule at the top of our rule book is no toxicity. Are you going to have it? Yes. You know, there's going to be a fox in the hen house at some time, and you just got to know how to control that fox. And after conversations, they usually figure out, yeah, I was wrong. And, you know, we're all grown men. Got to have a little thick skin.
You know, and I was actually just going to bring that up, because just in a general racing atmosphere, even on real dirt tracks, real pavement tracks, all drivers almost seem to have the exact same mentality, personality, and you got to have thick skin for it, because the criticism is real and they're not going to hold back. And you need to, A, take it like a man, and B, learn from what they're saying, because there's some truth behind it.
Right. Well, let me back up a little there. We don't want it to sound like, you know, I don't want it to sound like that's what we're going to rip you a new ass if you make a mistake. No, people make mistakes. That's another thing about our league, our platform that we run, Chop Shop, is we don't have a minimum I rating. We don't have a maximum. We invite every driver, because someone has to start somewhere, right? And where you're going to learn? You're going to learn from the best. And we got some of the best drivers, man, that I've raced against, and I've raced against guys that are, oh my God, dude, you got to stay away from, right? And it gets frustrating. But the thing is I wouldn't say we criticize hard. We just, hey man, you should have, what were you thinking? Blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of take it the wrong way, but also your delivery could be off a little. And that's just strictly out of emotion. So you got to know where he's coming from and stuff like that. But it can get out of hand. It can get out of control. And that's where the penalties come in. And that's where you kind of backpedal and, you know, you apologize. You know, you accept the fact that you were acting like a donkey. And you kind of eat your words a little and do it. But bottom line, again, I'll keep going back to it. As long as you stay consistent on how you handle situations is what makes a league good.
You know, and I was sitting here thinking, especially because I'm always trying to walk in the new guy's shoes, right? Because you always want to grow as a league, you know? I mean, you can have 200 members, but eventually you're going to want 300 or 400, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're always got to push to strive for growth. And one of the things I've personally experienced myself is I'm in the back a lot, almost every race with all you guys, right?
Right.
But I get cycled through a lot too. You know, I might stay out when you guys got fresh tires. You know, we had a race, and that was one of the things you said you were worried about. It's like, I ain't worried about you. I'm worried about your tires, you know, and I held my ground fairly well. But I can tell you, from a new guy coming in, you know, and I think this would help with everybody. If you join a league when you first jump on and you learn from these guys, just like myself, when I go to a series race in iRacing, I'm up front most of the time. I'm in the top 10, at least top 5 most of the time. And I'm always in the back in the league races, you know? So that just shows that even if I'm in the back, I'm still learning enough to where I'm getting better to when I go to an iRating race or a iRacing race, you're going to see that really blossom skill wise.
100%. You know? I'm telling you, 100% here. And I'll go to my grave with this, is you learn from league racing with the same guys, stuff like that. Give you an example. You go into an official, you'll race with 20 guys and then you go right into the next race, you might see 2 guys from the race you just raced in. So you almost have a very small window of learning not just the track, but you got to learn the people you're racing around. Are they driving in too deep? Are they, is his internet connection good? Is this, that? So you're constantly on guard. But in league racing, it's different. You race with the same guy week in and week out. You know their tendencies. I know that, this guy always runs the high line, or hey, I know when I'm around this guy, I got to give him a little more room. He's a little, inexperienced, or not. You know what I mean by that is, he might be not as skilled as. There's certain people in my league that I will run door to door with and have 100% confidence that we're going to come out the other end. There's some guys you got to give them a little more room because you don't know, they're unpredictable. Excuse me, but I've seen people. Jerry Culver's a good example. I'll use him as an example, and I'm sure he won't mind me using his name. Is he runs? He's a good racer. Would I say he's in the top level? No. But he runs with us. He runs with 5,000 I-rating guys and 3,000 I-rating guys, and I think he's tonight he's going to crack 2,000 I-rating tonight, which is a great accomplishment. But he goes out there, and I'll see. We have a little section in our Discord. Post your wins. I see him all the time. Jerry posting a win here, posting a win there, and I guarantee 100% it's because he runs in our league. Or any league. I wouldn't just say our league, any league where you can constantly improve your craft, racing against the same people and figuring it out. You take that same theory, and go to an official. Now you're racing. Everyone is the same I-rating skill set window, if you will, and you're smoking them. You're smoking them because you're like, man, dude, this is easy, right? Well, yeah, because none of them are 5,000. You're used to racing 5,000 and doing pretty decent. Now you take it and run against a 1,000 guy, it feels good. Not saying that that's what happens, but that 90% of the time that's what it is. It's because you get comfortable racing with the same people every day, week in and week out.
And like I told you when we first started this, with the momentum and the confidence of knowing that you can beat X person. I am a diehard firm believer that confidence is key, and it is even in real life, right? Like you'll see one guy win a race, and then next thing you know, he's up front every single week. It just does something to your brain that's like, I can do this. You kind of pop the cherry, as you will. And it's funny that you brought Jerry up. Because this is one thing I wanted to touch base with you on, because Jerry's trying to get me to go race another league with less skilled drivers to kind of hone in my skills even more after racing through our chop shop. Where do you as an owner stand with your members, not necessarily jumping ship, but racing multiple leagues, including yours?
I encourage it. Listen, I don't have the corner market on racing leagues. I don't, sit there and go, man, if you leave us, you're never coming back. Hey, if you want to run in other leagues, go run in other leagues. It's your choice whether to run in our league or run in XYZ league. We hope that we put on a good enough product, but also guys want to go race elsewhere. They race with the same guys over and over. That's why we race different nights. Actually, when we set up our seasons, we kind of know who our group of guys race with. And, there's another good league out there, the GOAT Racing League. They run, and we try to see when they're racing, what series they're racing on what nights. So let's say they run their truck series on Wednesday nights. We will go, hey, well, why don't we run ours on Tuesday night? Well, two things happen. One, those guys can come and race with us. We can go race with them. Or the guys, when you're competing, if you will, competing for the fish, right? If you will. So
right.
You want to, like I said, I don't know every league. I only know my neighborhood. And my neighborhood, I got 3 or 4 leagues that I've been associated with, and I try to, if you will, make sure we're not stepping on each other's toes. It's going to happen. we race 5 nights a week. So we're going to step on some toes somewhere as far as getting the competitive, hey, I want some of the cake in there too. I want to get some of these guys racing in my league. But it boils down to is your preference. Do you want a loose and goose racing league? There's plenty of them out there where there is no structure. It's just 40 guys getting together and having fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But what it will do is eventually you get 40 different guys every other week or maybe every other month because people get frustrated and then they'll move on. Right. So, but if I was to say for a new guy coming in, do your homework too, man. Watch some videos, watch some broadcasts, see what it is, see if they're wreck fests, see if this. Wrecks are going to happen, guys. So don't get discouraged if you're a new guy coming into iRacing or maybe someone just wanting to switch leagues. The biggest thing I'll see is a guy will jump in brand new, goes through all the motions, the checklist, picking a number, paying an entry fee, if you will, go through all those motions and then wrecks in the first race and then calls everyone, shit bags, this and that, and goes storming off. Well, dude, it's one race, man. Give it some time. You're racing with some new guys. Like I said, things are going to happen, dude. Emotions are going to be there. So my suggestion is give it time, man. You invested the time to look up Chop Shop, or any league, and you invested the time to pick out a number, pick out a paint scheme, have someone paint you a car, and then you get in there and race one time and say, this sucks. Well, I hate to break your bubble, man. That shit happens in every league, right? You're going to go to a league and it's going to happen. Yep. It's whether or not how you handle that. All right, I got wrecked. Let me look at it. Did I make the mistake? Oh, he made the mistake. Let's see how the league handles that. Okay, they determine it was XYZ's fault or a racing incident, and then you just deal with it and move on. You can always dispute stuff, but you also have a choice. You can go race anywhere. There's hundreds of leagues out there. I feel ours is one of the tops that will provide a sound judgment, and that's what I would tell any new guy. Give it time, man. Give it time.
Absolutely. And to capitalize on what you said about there's going to be wrecks, right? That's the best part about any iRacing league. I wouldn't say any, but most good iRacing leagues is there's not nearly as many yellows as there is in an iRacing race. Not even remotely close.
Well, and I'll tell you why. Because you have to face the guy next week, right?
Right.
So I'm running in an official race. I think officials are the most toxic races, and this is just me personally. You're basically running the gauntlet, man. You're out there, running with people you never ran with, and they give a rat's ass whether they wreck you. They'll apologize, but yeah, okay. There's nothing you really could do. It is what it is, right? You got wrecked. You can get all emotional and get butt hurt, which is 90% of the time for everybody. But then once you realize it and calm down, all right, hey, that's what happens in here. You would hope the higher you could move up this ladder, the better the racing is. But I've been in top splits before, and yeah, there might not be as many cautions, but people race differently in officials compared to league racing. League racing, I have to face you, Ryan, every week. So if I'm going to be an ass to you, one, it's not good. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to be this. And then you're going to race me different. And it's just next thing you know, the 5 guys that aren't involved in our little bullshit get wrapped up in it, and then they leave because, man, look at this league, man. They fight amongst each other. So, yeah, there's going to be disagreements. And like you said, man, our races, we run long flag runs. Tonight's race, I think we had maybe 90 laps at Indy. We didn't have a big field. I think we had 18 cars maybe, or 15, 16, 18 cars. But I think we only had 2 cautions for cause. And those were later in the race when it's actually getting down, that window getting smaller and smaller. So, things ramp up. But to sum it all up, man, if you're new to the iRacing or new to wanting to get in a league, give it time, get in there, know the people. if you get in a league that runs practice sessions, man, we try to run practice sessions every day almost if we could. But everybody works. But that gives you time to get out there, figure out the tracks, meet people, shoot the shit and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about. The racing is a byproduct. As far as I'm concerned, the racing is just the byproduct of a good friendship and community to be in. We can always go on Discord and just shoot the shit like we're doing right now, right? But
Right.
now I got something to sit there and go, man, I got your ass last week, and that's what's fun about it.
And you were talking earlier about you and Stryker's relationship, and I firmly believe that you can build lifelong friendships, through something like this. Whether you like playing Call of Duty or Minecraft or whatever
Right.
game, it's still a social atmosphere. And the thing that I love most about Chop Shop that I think a lot of people don't bring up enough is guys like you, Stryker, Nate, the guys that run up front all the time. I could beat you, John, next week and the time after that and the time after that. And if I'm struggling at the track, 3 or 4 races down and I've beat you all previous races, you would still help me to get as fast as I possibly can. Because like you said, I think everybody in the league wants you on your best day so they could say,
Yep.
I beat him.
100%.
Period. End of story. And that's a hard commodity to come by. Is guys that they want you at your best, regardless of how many times.
Well, they're not going to give you all the secret sauce. I guarantee that. I've been trying to get the sauce out of Stryker, Andrew Paynes and Biggarts and Kobe, all those guys that run up front a lot. You always, hey man, what are you running? Stock. I'm running stock. It's a running joke now at Chop Shop is, what's your setup? A stock, So yeah, you don't want to give up the secret sauce, but also they're the first ones to step up and go, man, yeah, hey, you're overdriving it. Hey, you're taking it in there. Run this line. Excuse me. They're still going to be, they want. If I was the best in the league, and I'm always winning and I'm always lapping the field or I'm 20 seconds ahead of second all the time, I would personally get bored of that. Yeah, there's still the excitement of I'm winning, but I want it to race people. I want it to be an even field. And I think we have 11 different winners this season in our Cup series. So that just shows you that, how equal the playing field is in most of our series at Chop Shop. It's always going to be a competitive race. There's always going to be that, but also everybody helps each other out in our practice sessions. We get the stint analyzer going. We look at times. We help out each other. But ultimately, I'm still trying to beat you. So I'm not going to give you everything, but we're going to steer everyone in the right direction, because the more we have people come up, the better the league is. If we have no one sharing or helping each other out, screw you, dude. I'm racing you. I don't want you to get better. It's just not good. And people like that, dude. People like being that kind of affection, if you will, of, hey, man, here's what you're doing wrong, and they enjoy it. All right, man, these guys are cool, man. They're this and that. Most leagues probably do that, but I think we do it very well, especially when we run practice rooms all night, every day, all night,
Absolutely. Do you think personally that there's one guy, not even one guy, maybe 1 or 3 guys, that's like every week, no matter what we race, you're like, I gotta beat this guy, just because that guy's always
everybody
up there.
in the field. Everybody in the field. I mean,
That's fair.
I come in with the expectation of I'm probably not going to win, but I want to give a good showing. I don't want to wreck. How's that? I want to finish the race. If I'm there at the end, like tonight was, or the other night, that's even better. It's the cherry on top. But ultimately, running 17th, 15th, 16th, and 17th place, we're all, we got our own little race going. There are guys in our leagues that they're on my little list, man, that I keep right next to me all times. I got their names written down, if you will, that I would hang on the board of, man, I accomplished something tonight if I could beat this guy. And, there's 5 or 6 guys in our league right now, dude, that if I beat those guys, whether or not it fell into my hands, dumb luck, whatever, I got to cross that line first, and it feels good. And when you race with the same guys week in and week out, that's what you go in an official and get a win. Okay, who you celebrating with? Nobody. Because the other 23 vultures that were racing with you are sitting there like, this guy's an asshole, man. He wrecked me to win, blah, blah, blah. But when you come out here in a league atmosphere, it means a lot more than unless you're a statistician and you're all worried about top 5s, 10s, and wins. I don't care about that. I care about a nice, good race, everybody having fun. And if I win a race here and there, that's great. If not, as long as I'm having fun and everyone else is having fun, that's the key. I wouldn't be spending all my time, money, and doing all this crap, if I was just wanting to win, because I'm not winning, right? But I'm having fun.
Right. And I think you really hit the nail on the head there, saying like, hey, you're going out there to win, but you also want to be there in the end. And in order to be there in the end, to feel like, hey, man, I finished the race, that you got to start there, because you got to finish the race if you want to place
win
anywhere,
if you don't
right?
Finish.
Exactly. And with all races, there's going to be guys that wreck out. They're going to destroy their car. They're going to run the corner too deep or whatever. And that's the position I'm in. When I come into a race, my goal is to stay out of trouble and finish race. And, a good example is one of the first races here that I did was North Wilkesboro, and I finished 9th.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. Everybody knows that I'm not that good, but I avoided the trouble, right? And I just kind of moved up there. The problem, I think, with that is you tend to drive safe. And when you drive too safe, you lose speed. And then you're not learning as much or as quickly as you want. Does that make sense?
It makes 100%. Because here's the thing. Here's what I believe. When you run in a race and you run 3/4 throttle, because, man, I just want to finish, man. I'm here for safety rating, right?
Right.
You don't know what the limitations of the car is, right? So when you do get put in that position, you're 3 to go, green, white checker, and you happen to be on the front row, you ain't driving 3/4 throttle anymore, right? But now you just ran 90 laps at 3/4 throttle and taking it easy and avoiding the wrecks. But now the pressure just ramped up in that cooker, and now you got to drive outside your comfort zone to try to win the race. And what happens? You end up overdriving, you spin out and wreck the field. So, and then you get mad, or you get mad at yourself. Hey, man, drive to the limits of your ability. And if you wreck, you wreck. Like I said, man, me winning tonight did not save me from hunger. Did not put food in my refrigerator. I do this for fun. And if I wreck, I wreck. I don't want to wreck. I don't want to wreck people. But hell, man, I want to win too. And I feel if you half-ass it, just trying to be safe, when you're in that position of I got to drive hard, you're not going to have the skill set to do it because you're so used to driving half throttle, right? So push it. That's when you push it is in practices, right? You get out there and you see what you're capable.
Right.
Can I take these corners at this speed? Can I do this here? Can I do that here? If you wreck, you just reset and do it again. And then you carry that over to the race, the actual race. And then now you have that confidence. Hey, man, the tires will hold, Cole. They'll hold. So.
I wanted to touch base because you did win tonight, and it was
phenomenal.
a strategic win. Phenomenal strategic. Hey, you heard me over the Discord. I was yelling. I was pumped up for you, pal. I'm a big fan myself. Is it in the back of your head that it's like, I got lucky? I won, but I got lucky, and that it's like I got to prove it. The way I am, if I were in your shoes, it would still be a small fragment, just very small. I'd be like, it was kind of a fluke, so I got to really beat these guys the next time. Or is it just something that you can, kind of just look past and you're like, I won the race, end of conversation, on to the next one?
I'm going to say yes to both, right? I won the race.
Okay.
I got across the line before everybody else. So I won the race. Now, in the back of my mind, would I have won that race if it had stayed green? Probably not. I didn't have the car tonight. I still don't have the skill set that some of these guys have. I was lucky tonight to have the pole. I led the first 12, 13, 14 laps. But, is that because they're just letting me pull them around? So you could put doubt in your head all the time. But ultimately, it's all part of racing. Running out of fuel, hitting a wall, having a bad night, forgetting to put your setup in right, all is part of racing. And it wasn't like I was in 17th place and everybody just disappeared and I won. You have to put yourself in a position to win. And I felt that I did a good job in that tonight. I saved fuel, did this, did that, and that's in any race. I don't ever feel that a win is tainted because someone ran out of fuel, this and that. It's because you were in position to win. Keep that in mind. You're in position to win. I'm in 4th place. The 2 guys in front of me could wreck, and I could win. That's a win, dude. Yep. I don't care. A win's a win. Yep. Whether or not it was, hey, I led 95 of 100 laps and I won by 14 seconds, that's a dominating win. But a win is still a win, and it's, you move on to the next round. So I credit it as, would have I won a green flag? Probably not, but I had a top 5 car all night.
And you were actually the one guy complaining that there was a yellow in the end for that green-white checkered, and you end up winning.
That statement.
I'm not saying you would have won or wouldn't have won without that yellow, but thank God for that yellow.
The yellow came out because it went against my strategy. Excuse me. And my strategy was the fuel. I saved fuel, save fuel. And the strategy was that it had to stay green. The earlier in the run, I was up front. I was a top 5 car. The last stage, I'm in the last place, a whole front stretch behind, 3/4 throttle. I wasn't doing that because I was scared to run. I was trying to save fuel so I didn't have to stop. And the strategy is I'm hoping these guys went too fast, too far, or too quick and didn't realize that they could stretch it. And that's what I was hoping. The caution coming out foiled that. Now I had to regroup and go, all righty, tires were all equal. Now I just got to outdrive them. And, wrecks happen, this and that. Rubbin's racing, and you hope you're the guy that comes out the other end and you got a chance to win the race still. And that's what happened tonight. The guy in front of me ran out of fuel, hit the wall, and I had enough fuel. So yeah, it's a win.
Hey man, we came back to it. We started with it. We came back to it. Either way, congratulations. I do want to leave you with one thing before we end this podcast is where do you think and where would you like Chop Shop as the racing league to go in the future? Like, what's the goal here? You got to have some sort of plan up your sleeve.
I do have a plan. I mean, ultimately, like I said, I'll go back a little bit here. If you're going to run a league or running a league, you're going to have ups and downs. So you're going to get, that emotional crush where you're like, man, why am I doing this? And then you'll have these, like tonight, dude, I'm shit. Yeah, dude, let's rock and roll. I won. Yeah. But you're going to have that roller coaster. Where I want to see Chop Shop is we have a lot of things going on right now with Chop Shop. It's like any other business, if you will. You got this baby and it's great and it's good. Well, let's have more babies. Boom. Now all of a sudden we got this orphanage going, and I got to calm it down. You got to go back to your roots and slowly grow. Don't try to go so fast. I don't think we did that. We were close. Like I said, we run 5 nights a week. Would I love to run 7 nights a week? I would love it. So we're trying other things. We changed a couple things, but ultimately Chop Shop has a lot going on. We just got our website up and going. We obviously got this podcast that you are the host of, Ryan, doing a great job. And we got, there's probably other things I'm missing. Got the podcast, Chopp'n It Up. We got TikTok. We got YouTube videos. So ultimately, am I trying to blow up and be, huge? No, but when somebody joins iRacing or is got a wild hair up their ass and says, man, I'm looking for a league to join, I want us to be at the top of their choice. And to do that, we have to get exposure. We can sit here and run all day, and run our league, but if we don't have exposure out there and putting it up in their faces constantly of Chop Shop this, chopping it up, having these podcasts, talking about racing, talking about community and stuff like that, that's where I want Chop Shop to go, and I'm sure Stryker wants that too. That was our original thought. Let's build a community with the right people. Drivers come and go, but when you got a good core group together, that's what we're going to take, that core group, and we're going to keep marching forward, and eventually we're going to be the league that everybody wants to run in.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Again, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I know you were the one guy that didn't want to do it first, and
I don't want to jump in the water first. You don't know what's in there.
the old man had to do it first. You have to get the king off the mountain to walk them through their throne area, to see. It's nice to do things like this, to see the behind the scenes type of stuff, right? No one knows what goes into this kind of stuff, You already know, and a lot of guys already know, Stryker will be on next. Get owner 1 and 2, to do the first 2 podcasts so we can see the personality differences between you and him. Obviously, like you said, you're the yin and the yang to each other, but it works. Opposites attract, and it's always been like that. So I want to thank you tonight. Congratulations on your win, and we'll see you tomorrow night in the Gen 4 and see what happens. Be fun.
Check it out, Chop Shop TV. Signature Esports, our 2 broadcasting teams. Come check us out. We got iRacing or ChopShopRacing.net. Come check out our website. If anybody's out there looking for a league to have fun, come out. Good community, lots of fun. Come and check us out. Discord, Chop Shop.
Absolutely. Again, thank you again for tonight. I'm Ryan. I'm the host of Chopp'n It Up here at Chop Shop Racing, iRacing League for everybody. John went over all our social media links. We're also on Facebook. Look us up. Reach out. John himself will answer any and all questions, along with any admins. Everybody else have a good night, and we'll see you on the next episode.